The great hall of the Valari Empire was silent. Thousands of alien nobles stood frozen in their places. Their silver skin glowed under the purple lights of the palace. Their large, dark eyes watched the human soldier who walked toward the throne. Taiho moved forward with steady steps. His boots made loud sounds on the crystal floor. He was not a tall man. He was not the strongest soldier in the human army. But he had done something no one else could do. He had captured the Valari flagship alone. He had ended a war that lasted 15 years. The Valari Emperor sat on his throne made of living stone. The stone moved slowly, like breathing. The Emperor was old. His silver skin had turned gray in many places. His eyes showed something rare for his kind. They showed fear. "Human," the Emperor said. His voice was deep and cold. "You have won. Our fleet is destroyed. Our armies have fallen. You may claim your prize." Taiho stopped walking. He stood 20 steps away from the throne. Behind the Emperor, 7 princesses sat in smaller chairs. They were arranged by their rank. The first princess sat closest to her father. She was beautiful in the way her people found beautiful. Tall, pure silver skin, eyes that could see through minds. Taiho had studied the Valari for many years. He knew their customs. He knew their secrets. And he knew what prize would hurt them most. "I want a bride," Taiho said. The court made sounds of shock. The nobles whispered to each other. A human wanting a Valari bride? This was unthinkable. The two species had been enemies since the first contact. Humans were considered primitive. They had no telepathic powers. They could not read minds or move objects with thoughts. To the Valari, humans were like smart animals. The Emperor leaned forward. "You wish to marry into our bloodline? You, a creature without mind gifts?" "That is my right as victor," Taiho said. "Your own laws say so." I checked. The Emperor's gray face became darker. He was angry, but he could not refuse. The laws of the Valari were sacred. A victor could claim any prize except the Emperor's life. "Very well," the Emperor said through tight teeth. "Choose. My first daughter, Yura, is the finest telepath in 1,000 years. My second daughter, Myra, commands the remaining fleet. My third daughter, I choose the 7th, Taiho said. The silence that followed was different from before. Before, it was shock. Now, it was confusion. Everyone looked at the last chair in the row. The chair was placed far from the others. The princess who sat there was different. Her name was Nara. She was the Emperor's daughter by a servant woman who came from a conquered world. Her skin was not pure silver. It had patches of soft blue, showing her mixed blood. She was smaller than her sisters. Her eyes were larger, more round, more expressive. And everyone knew her secret shame. Nara had no telepathic gifts. In a society where mind powers meant everything, she was nothing. The first princess laughed. It was a cruel sound. "The human wants the half-blood? The mindless one?" Other nobles began to laugh too. The sound filled the great hall. They thought this was a joke. Why would a victor choose the least valuable prize? But Taiho did not laugh. He kept his eyes on Nara. She had not moved since he spoke her title. Her large eyes stared at him with something he recognized. Hope mixed with fear. "Is this truly your choice?" the Emperor asked. He seemed confused, but also relieved. Giving away Nara cost him nothing. She was worthless to him. "It is," Taiho said. "Then take her. She is yours." No ceremony. No formal words. The Emperor dismissed his 7th daughter like throwing away broken furniture. Nara stood up slowly. Her sisters did not look at her. They never looked at her unless they wanted to hurt her. She walked down from the platform. Her steps were uncertain. She wore simple clothes compared to her sister's grand robes. No jewels decorated her hair. No servants followed her. She stopped in front of Taiho. Up close, he could see the marks on her arms. Scars from telepathic attacks. Her own family had hurt her many times. In Valari society, someone without mind gifts was not considered a real person. "I am yours now," Nara said quietly. Her voice was soft, musical, different from the harsh tones of other Valari. "What will you do with me?" Taiho looked at her for a long moment. Then he did something that shocked everyone watching. He bowed to her. A small bow, the kind humans gave to show respect. "I will take you home," he said. "To Earth, if you will come with me." Nara's eyes widened. No one had ever asked for her agreement before. In her whole life, she had always been told what to do. Her opinion had never mattered. "Yes," she whispered. "I will come." Taiho nodded. He turned and began walking toward the exit. Nara followed him, still confused by his strange behavior. Behind them, the court returned to their whispers. The first princess smiled coldly. "He took our garbage. Let him keep it." The emperor said nothing. But deep in his own mind, a small worry began to grow. The human had studied their people for years. He knew things others did not know. Why would such a careful enemy choose a worthless prize? Unless she was not worthless at all. Outside the palace, a human shuttle waited. Taiho helped Nara climb inside. She moved carefully, like she expected pain at any moment. The seats were soft, made for human bodies. She had never felt anything so comfortable. "The journey to Earth takes 3 weeks," Taiho said, sitting across from her. "You can rest. You can eat. You can do whatever you want. No one will hurt you." Nara looked at him with her large eyes. "Why did you choose me?" "My sisters are more beautiful. They have power. I have nothing." Taiho smiled. It was a small smile, but it was warm. "You have something they do not have. But I will tell you later. For now, just rest. You are safe." Nara did not understand. But for the first time in her life, she felt something strange in her chest. Something light and warm. She did not know the word for it yet. The word was hope. The shuttle moved through the dark space between stars. Nara sat by the window and watched the lights pass by. Each light was a sun. Each sun might have worlds around it. She had never left her home planet before. She had never been allowed to. 3 days had passed since they left the Valari Palace. 3 days of silence, good food, and soft beds. 3 days without pain. It felt unreal to Adate, who spent most of his time in the pilot's cabin. He came out to eat with her twice a day. He never forced her to talk. He never touched her without asking first. He always knocked before entering her room. These small things confused Nara deeply. In her experience, powerful beings took what they wanted. They did not ask. They did not knock. They did not care about the feelings of weaker creatures. On the 4th day, she finally found the courage to ask him a question during their evening meal. "Why are you being kind to me?" Taiho looked up from his food. It was a human dish called rice with vegetables. He had given her Valari food from the supplies, but she found herself curious about his meals. "Why would I not be?" He asked back. "Because I am your prize. I am your property now. You won me in conquest. By your laws and mine, you can do anything you want to me." Taiho put down his eating tools. His face became serious. "That is true by law. But humans do not think that way about people." "People?" Nara repeated the word like it was strange. "Your kind calls my kind enemies, monsters, mind stealers." "Some humans say those things," Taiho agreed. "Some Valari call humans animals. Words spoken in war are not always truth." He stood up and walked to a cabinet. He pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A light came from it, showing pictures in the air. The pictures showed a planet, blue and green and white. Beautiful. "This is Earth," Taiho said. "My home. 60 years ago, we knew nothing about life beyond our world. Then the Valari came. They said we were primitive. They took our people for experiments. They killed millions." Nara lowered her eyes. She knew this history. Her people had done terrible things to humans. "The war that followed was long and bloody," Taiho continued. "Both sides did terrible things. But humans learned something important during this war. We learned that cruelty only creates more cruelty. Hate only creates more hate. So you show me kindness to break the cycle?" Nara asked. "No." Taiho sat back down. "I show you kindness because you deserve kindness. Every thinking being deserves basic respect. That is what humans believe now. It took us many centuries and many wars to learn this lesson. But we learned it." Nara was quiet for a long time. She processed his words. In Valari society, only the strong deserved respect. The weak existed to serve the strong. That was the natural order. That was how things had always been. "Your people are strange," she finally said. Taeho laughed. It was a good sound, full of real amusement. "Yes, we are. Very strange indeed." The next day, Nara asked if she could try human food. Taiho seemed pleased by this. He made her something called soup. It was warm and savory, filled with soft noodles and pieces of meat. She had never tasted anything like it. "This is delicious," she said, surprised by her own reaction. "My mother's recipe," Taiho said. "She made it for me when I was sick as a child." Food is important to humans. We show love through food. Love through food. Nara thought about this concept. In the Valari Palace, food was nutrition and nothing more. Eating was a necessity, not a pleasure. No one had ever cooked for her with love. As days passed, Nara began to open up more. She told Taiho about her childhood. She told him about her mother, who died when Nara was young. She told him about her sisters, who hated her for existing. She told him about the servants who avoided her, afraid that her lack of gifts was somehow contagious. Taiho listened to everything. He never interrupted. He never judged. Sometimes he asked questions to understand better. Sometimes he simply nodded. One night, Nara cried. She did not mean to. The tears simply came. She was telling him about the time her eldest sister Yura had attacked her mind. Even without telepathic shields, Nara could feel pain. Yura had filled her head with nightmares for 3 days straight. She was 12 years old. "I wanted to die," Nara whispered. "I prayed for death. But death did not come." Taiho moved to sit beside her. He did not touch her, but she could feel his warmth nearby. "I am sorry," he said quietly. "No child should suffer like that. Why are you sorry? It was not your doing. I am sorry because it happened to you. That is enough reason." Nara looked at him through her tears. In that moment, she saw something in his eyes. Understanding. True understanding. This human, this creature from a species her people called primitive, understood her pain better than her own family ever had. "You are different from what I expected," she said. "What did you expect?" "I expected a monster. I expected cruelty. I expected pain." She paused. "I did not expect soup and kind words." Taiho smiled sadly. "War makes monsters of everyone, but peace allows us to become human again. Or Valari. Or whatever we choose to be." They sat in silence for a while. The ship hummed around them. Stars flew past outside. "Can I ask you something?" Nara said, "Always." "You said I have something my sisters do not have." "What did you mean?" Taiho looked at her carefully. His eyes moved to her hands, then to her chest, where her heart beat. "Do you know why the Valari fear healers?" he asked. Nara froze. Her whole body went stiff. How did he know? She had never told anyone. She had hidden this secret for her entire life. If her family discovered the truth, they would have killed her. I do not, she started. "Your hands glow blue when you sleep," Taiho said gently. "I saw it through the door window. You were healing yourself. The scars your sisters gave you are already fading." Nara's hands trembled. The secret she had kept for 20 years was exposed. And she was alone on a ship with a human soldier who now knew her greatest weakness. "Please," she whispered. "Please do not tell anyone." "I will never tell anyone," Taiho promised. "But I want you to understand something. On Earth, healers are honored. Doctors and nurses are respected above soldiers and kings. The power to heal is the greatest power anyone can have." Nara stared at him. In Valari society, healers were considered dangerous. They could undo damage. They could fix what was broken. This threatened those who ruled through fear and pain. Long ago, the Emperor had ordered all healers killed. Nara was the first healer born in 500 years. "My people would destroy me if they knew," she said. "Then it is good you are no longer with your people," Taiho replied. "You are going to Earth now, to a place where your gift makes you precious, not cursed. Precious." No one had ever called Nara precious before. She was garbage. She was the half-blood. She was the mindless daughter. But this human looked at her like she was made of starlight. "I do not deserve your kindness," she said. Taiho shook his head. "You deserve far more than kindness. And one day, I hope you will believe that." That night, Nara dreamed of a world where healers were heroes. She dreamed of blue hands that saved lives instead of hiding in fear. She dreamed of being precious. For the first time, she was not afraid to wake up. Earth was more beautiful than any picture could show. Nara pressed her face against the window as the shuttle descended through white clouds. Below her, blue oceans stretched in every direction. Green lands appeared between the waters. Tiny lights sparkled across the dark side of the planet. Cities. Millions of humans living their lives. "Welcome to Earth," Taiho said. Standing beside her, they landed in a place called Seoul. It was a massive city with buildings that reached toward the sky. Flying vehicles moved through the air in organized patterns. People walked on streets below, going about their daily lives. Some looked human. Others were clearly aliens from species Nara had never seen. "There are other aliens here?" she asked, surprised. "Earth has become a meeting point for many species," Taiho explained. "After the war with the Valari, we made allies with others who had also suffered under your empire. Now we live together in peace." Nara saw tall beings with green skin, short creatures covered in soft fur, floating entities made of pure light. All of them walked alongside humans without fear or hatred. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Different species cannot live in harmony. It goes against nature." Taiho smiled. "Humans are very good at doing impossible things." He took her to a small house on the edge of the city. It sat on a hill overlooking a valley filled with trees. A stream ran through the property, making soft sounds as water moved over rocks. The air smelled clean and fresh. "This is your home?" Nara asked. "This is our home now," Taiho corrected. "If you want it to be." The house was simple but comfortable. Wooden floors, large windows, a kitchen filled with cooking tools. Taiho showed her to a room that was prepared for her. It had a bed with soft blankets, a desk for writing, and a window that looked out at the mountains. "You may decorate it however you wish," he said. "This space is yours." In the days that followed, Nara learned to live a new kind of life. She helped Taiho cook meals. She walked through the valley and touched the leaves of plants she had never seen. She sat by the stream and listened to water birds sing. One evening, a visitor came. Her name was Jiwoo, and she was a human doctor. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. Taiho had called her to examine Nara. "I am not sick," Nara protested. "I know," Taiho said. "But Jiwoo is a special kind of doctor. She studies alien biology. I want her to help you understand your gift." Jiwoo set up strange equipment in the living room. She asked Nara to sit in a chair while small devices scanned her body. The scans did not hurt. They just made soft humming sounds. "Fascinating," Jiwoo said, looking at the results. "Your cellular structure is completely different from typical Valari. You have additional energy channels throughout your body. They connect directly to your neural system." "What does that mean?" Nara asked. "It means your healing ability is not a weakness. It is an evolution." Jiwoo turned the screen so Nara could see. "Your body produces a unique form of bioenergy. This energy can repair damaged tissue at incredible speeds. And not just your own tissue." Taiho leaned forward. "Can she heal others?" "In theory, yes. With training, she could potentially heal any living being she touches. The energy signature is compatible with multiple species. Human, Valari, and others." Nara felt dizzy. Her whole life, she had been told she was broken. She had no telepathy, no mind powers, no value. Now this human doctor was telling her she had the power to heal any living thing. "Why did my people fear healers so much?" she asked. Jiwoo and Taiho exchanged looks. It was Taiho who answered. "Because healers can undo tyranny," he said. "A ruler controls people through fear of pain and death. But if someone can heal any wound, take away any suffering, that ruler loses power. Healers give hope. And hope is dangerous to those who rule through fear." Everything made sense now. The Emperor had killed all healers not because they were weak, but because they were too strong. A healer could save the people the Emperor wanted dead. A healer could repair the damage that kept populations obedient. "My father knew what I was," Nara realized. "That is why my sisters attacked me so often. They were trying to break me, to make me forget what I could do." "Probably," Taiho agreed. "But they failed. Your power survived. You survived." Over the next months, Nara trained with Jiwoo. She learned to control the energy in her body. She learned to direct it through her hands. The first time she healed another person, she cried from joy. It was a human child who had fallen from a tree. His arm was broken, bone pushing against skin. Nara touched him gently. Blue light flowed from her fingers. The bone moved back into place. The skin closed. In seconds, the boy was whole again. "Thank you, pretty blue lady." The child laughed, running back to play. Nara looked at her hands. They were still glowing softly. "I did that," she whispered. "I fixed him." Taiho stood nearby, watching with pride. "You did. And that is just the beginning." Word spread about the alien healer. People came from across the city, then from across the country. Nara healed soldiers wounded in the war. She healed children born with defects. She healed old people whose bodies were failing. Each life she saved filled her with purpose, but news traveled beyond Earth too. Ships came from other worlds. Species who had no healers of their own sent representatives to beg for Nara's help. She healed them all. Purple-skinned farmers with a plague. Rock creatures with cracking shells. Beings made of pure thought who were somehow wounded. "You are becoming famous," Taiho said one evening. They sat on the porch, watching the sun set over the mountains. "I do not want fame," Nara replied. "I only want to help." "That is why you are famous. Because you help without wanting anything in return." Nara looked at him. In the golden light, he seemed different, softer, more at peace than when she first met him. She had healed his body once, fixing old war wounds he never mentioned. But she had also healed something deeper in him, something broken by years of fighting. "I never asked why you truly chose me," she said. "You knew about healers. You studied my people. You specifically chose me because you knew what I could become." Taiho nodded slowly. "The Valari Empire will try to rebuild. They will want revenge. When that day comes, humanity will need allies. Not just soldiers. Not just weapons. We will need symbols of hope. You can be that symbol. A bridge between species," Nara said, understanding. "Yes, a healer who was thrown away by her own kind, but embraced by humans. A princess who chose peace over power. Your story can change how the galaxy sees both our peoples." Nara thought about this for a long time. She thought about her father, who threw her away like trash. She thought about her sisters, who tried to destroy her. She thought about the humans who welcomed her with open arms. "I will be your bridge," she said finally. "Not because you ask, but because it is the right thing to do." Taiho reached out and took her hand. It was the first time he had touched her without asking first. But somehow, it felt right. "Together," he said, "we will build something better than war." Nara smiled. For the first time in her life, she knew exactly who she was meant to be. But far across the stars, her sisters were watching. And they were not pleased. The message came at midnight. It appeared on screens across Earth, broadcast from a Valari diplomatic ship that had entered the solar system. The face of Princess Yura, first daughter of the Valari Emperor, filled the display. "People of Earth," Yura spoke with false sweetness, "we come in peace. We wish to discuss the future relationship between our species. We request permission to land a delegation on your world." Taiho watched the broadcast with cold eyes. He knew Yura. He had studied her for years. She was brilliant, cruel, and utterly without mercy. She had killed 3 of her own cousins to secure her position as heir. Peace was the last thing she wanted. "They are coming for Nara," he said. Nara stood beside him, her blue-marked hands trembling. "I knew this day would come. They cannot allow me to live. A healer threatens everything they believe in." The Earth Council debated for 3 days. Some wanted to send the Valari away. Others argued that refusing would restart the war. In the end, they agreed to allow a small delegation to land under heavy guard. Yura arrived with 2 of her sisters. Mira, the second princess, commanded their ship. Hana, the 4th princess, served as their telepath. Together, they were a deadly combination of military power and mind control. A meeting was arranged in a neutral building in Seoul. Security was tight. Human soldiers surrounded the area. Drones flew overhead, watching everything. But Taiho knew these precautions would not be enough. Not against telepaths. He made a decision. "I will meet them alone," he told the council. "That is suicide," General Hyunwoo protested. "They will tear your mind apart." "Perhaps. But if they attack me, it proves they came for war. That gives us reason to defend ourselves." Taiho looked at Nara. "Stay here. No matter what happens, stay here." Nara grabbed his arm. "Do not do this, please. I am not worth your life." Taiho cupped her face in his hands. In the 2 years since she came to Earth, she had transformed. She stood taller now. She spoke with confidence. She had saved thousands of lives with her gift. But when she looked at him, she was still the frightened princess he had found in that palace. "You are worth everything," he said softly. "Do you understand? Everything good that has happened since the war ended, you made possible. You gave people hope. You showed them that enemies can become friends. That is worth dying for." Tears ran down Nara's cheeks, leaving silver trails on her blue-marked skin. Then let me come with you. Let me face my sisters. No, if they see you, they will attack immediately. But if I go alone, they might talk first. They will want to understand how a simple human won the war. Their pride will make them curious. Taiho kissed her forehead gently. Then he turned and walked away. The meeting room was large and empty. White walls, white floor, white ceiling. No furniture except for a single table with chairs on each side. Taiho entered through one door. The three princesses entered through another. YUR looked exactly as he remembered. Tall, pure silver skin, eyes like dark pools of ice. She moved with the grace of a predator. Her sisters flanked her on either side, each one beautiful in that cold Velari way. The famous Sergeant Taiho, Yura said, her voice dripping with contempt. The human who captured our flagship. The animal who dared to claim a princess as his prize. I returned your stolen people, Taiho replied calmly. I freed the humans your empire kept as slaves. I ended a war that was killing both our species. If that makes me an animal, so be it. Myra laughed. It was an ugly sound. You speak bravely for a creature with no shields. My sister Hana could destroy your mind with a thought. Then why does she hesitate? The princesses exchanged glances. Hana's eyes narrowed as she tried to read Taiho's thoughts. But she found something unexpected. His mind was not unprotected. It was simply quiet. No fear. No anger. No desperation. Just calm acceptance. What trick is this? Hana demanded. No trick. I have simply made peace with death. Taiho leaned forward. Now, shall we discuss why you really came here? Yura dropped her false smile. Her true face emerged, cold and hateful. You know why we came. The half-blood must die. She is an abomination. A healer in the royal bloodline is unacceptable. Her very existence weakens our empire. Your empire lost a war. It was already weak. Yura's silver face flushed with rage. Watch your tongue, human, or what? You will kill me. Do it. But know that Earth has recorded everything. Every word you speak is being broadcast across the galaxy. Your threat to kill your own sister is now public knowledge. The princesses froze. Their eyes moved to the walls, searching for hidden devices. But there were no devices. Taiho had bluffed. His only recording was his own memory, but they did not know that. You lie, Hana said, but her voice was uncertain. Perhaps the entire galaxy is watching three princesses of the Velari Empire threaten to murder a healer who has saved thousands of lives. A healer who includes humans and aliens among her patients. A healer who has done nothing but help others. Yura stood up sharply. Her chair flew backward. This is not over, human. We will find a way. Nara will die, and you will watch. I have a counteroffer, Taiho said, not moving from his seat. Leave. Go back to your empire. Tell your father that Nara is under humanity's protection. Any attempt on her life will be considered an act of war. And this time, we will not stop at your flagship. The three sisters stared at him. This was not fear talking. This was certainty. The human truly believed his species could destroy them. You are insane, Myra breathed. One soldier against three telepaths, and you threaten us? I am not threatening. I am making a promise. Taiho finally stood. He was shorter than them, weaker physically, but somehow he seemed to fill the room. Humanity does not fight fair. We never have. We survive because we adapt. We overcome because we never give up. You have telepathy. We have 10 billion people who will die for each other. He walked toward the door. His back was turned to them. A perfect target. Yura raised her hand. Energy gathered around her fingers. One strike. That was all it would take. Yura, stop, Hana whispered urgently. He was telling the truth. There are weapons trained on us. I can sense the thoughts of soldiers everywhere. If you kill him, we die too. The energy faded. Yura lowered her hand, her face twisted with fury. Taiho opened the door. He looked back one final time. Your sister is happy here. She has found purpose and love. She will never return to your empire. You can accept this and make peace. Or you can keep trying to destroy her, and we will destroy you instead. The choice is yours. He walked out. Outside, Nara was waiting. She had disobeyed him and come anyway. When she saw him alive, she ran forward and threw her arms around him. I thought I lost you, she sobbed. I thought they killed you. Taiho held her tightly. His hands were shaking. Only now, away from those cold eyes, did he allow himself to feel fear. They did not kill me, he said. But this is not over. They will try again. Nara pulled back and looked at him. Her eyes were determined. Then we will be ready. Together. Above them, the Valari ship powered its engines and departed. The three princesses sat in cold silence as Earth grew smaller behind them. This is not over, Yura repeated her brother's words. We will find another way. But deep in her heart, a small seed of doubt had been planted. The human had looked into her eyes without flinching. No one had ever done that before. Perhaps these primitive creatures were more dangerous than they seemed. 5 years passed after the sisters returned to their empire. 5 years of uneasy peace. 5 years of change thought Nara had become something the galaxy had never seen before. She traveled between worlds, healing the sick and wounded of every species. She asked for no payment. She took no sides. She simply helped whoever needed help. Humans called her the Blue Angel. Valari refugees called her the Lost Princess. Other species had their own names, all meaning the same thing. Hoped out when plague struck a farming colony, Nara was there. When an earthquake destroyed a city on a distant moon, Nara was there. When soldiers from forgotten wars lay dying in hospital beds, Nara was there. Her blue-marked hands brought life back to bodies that were ready for death. Taiho traveled with her always. He had retired from military service. Now he served as her protector, her advisor, and something more. Something neither of them had named yet, but both of them felt. One morning, a message arrived that changed everything. The Valari Emperor was dying. His body is failing, the messenger reported. His telepathic powers are gone. His mind is fading. The doctors say he has days, perhaps hours. The Emperor had been cruel. He had ordered the deaths of millions. He had thrown Nara away like garbage. But he was still her father. Nara felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, sadness, and something she did not expect. Pity. I must go to him, she said. Taiho looked concerned. Your sisters will be there. They might see this as their chance. Perhaps. But I cannot let my father die alone, hated by everyone. Even monsters deserve mercy at the end. They took a fast ship to the Valari homeworld. The journey that once took 3 weeks now took only 4 days. Human technology had advanced quickly after the war. Cooperation between species had pushed science forward at incredible speed. The Valari palace looked different now. Smaller somehow. Less impressive. Nara walked through halls she remembered from her childhood. The walls still glowed with purple light. The floors were still crystal. But the fear was gone from her heart. Yura met them at the entrance to the Emperor's chambers. 5 years had aged her. Lines marked her silver face. Her eyes had lost some of their ice. You came, Yura said. There was no anger in her voice. Only tiredness. He is my father. Yura looked at Taiho, then back at Nara. You may see him. alone. Your human stays here. Taiho tensed, but Nara touched his arm. It is all right. Wait for me. She entered the chamber alone. The Emperor lay on a bed that no longer moved. The living stone had died when his powers faded. He was thin and gray, a shadow of the ruler who once terrified galaxies. His eyes opened when he heard her footsteps. Nara, he whispered. My seventh daughter, father. A long silence filled the room. Machines hummed softly, keeping the old tyrant alive for a few more moments. I was wrong, the Emperor said suddenly. His voice cracked. About you. About healers. About everything? Nara sat beside his bed. She did not touch him yet. Why are you saying this now? Because I am dying. Because I see clearly now, without power clouding my eyes. He coughed weakly. Your sisters fought for years over who would succeed me. They destroyed each other with plots and betrayals. Yura killed Myra last year. Hannah disappeared. The others are dead or exiled. Nara knew some of this. News traveled even across the stars. You could have stopped them, she said. I made them what they are. I taught them that power was everything. That mercy was weakness. Tears leaked from the old Emperor's eyes. But look at you. I threw you away, and you became greater than all of them. You changed the galaxy by healing, not hurting. He reached out a trembling hand. Please, before I die, forgive me. Nara looked at her father. She remembered every cruel word, every dismissive glance, every time she cried alone because he treated her like trash. Then she remembered Taiho's words from long ago. Cruelty only creates more cruelty. Hate only creates more hate. She took her father's hand. Blue light flowed from her fingers. But this time, she did not try to heal his body. She healed his spirit. She poured peace and forgiveness into his fading mind. The Emperor gasped. For the first time in centuries, he felt no anger, no fear, no hate, only calm. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you, my daughter. He closed his eyes and did not open them again. Nara sat with his body for a long time. When she finally emerged, Yura was waiting. He's gone, Nara said simply. Yura nodded. Her face showed nothing. There is a problem. There is a problem. With no clear air, the Empire will fall into chaos. Generals will fight for power. Colonies will rebel. Millions will die. You are the eldest surviving daughter. The throne is yours. Yura shook her head. No one will follow me. I am known for cruelty, not wisdom. The other species will see my rule as a return to the old ways. They will unite against us. She knelt before Nara. The proudest princess of the Valari Empire knelt before the half-blood she once called garbage. The throne belongs to you, sister. You are the only one who can save our people. Nara stared down at her. You tried to kill me. You sent assassins. You threatened everything I love. Yes, and I was wrong. Yura looked up with wet eyes. I was so wrong. Please, Nara, not for me. For the innocent people who will die if we fall apart. Taiho stepped forward. He had heard everything from the doorway. His eyes met Nara's. The choice is yours, he said. I will support whatever you decide. Nara thought about the life she had built on Earth. The little house on the hill. The stream and the trees. The people she had healed. She had found happiness there. Peace. But she also thought about all the people who still suffered. The Valari servants who lived in fear. The conquered species who had no voice. The children who grew up believing that power meant cruelty. She could change all of that. She could build a new kind of empire. One based on healing, not hurting. Hope, not fear. I will accept the throne, she said finally. But not alone. She turned to Taiho and took his hands. Marry me. Rule beside me. Help me build something better. Taiho smiled. It was the same warm smile he had given her on that shuttle years ago. The smile that first showed her kindness. I thought you would never ask. The coronation happened 1 month later. Nara stood before millions of her people, wearing a simple crown that she designed herself. No jewels, no gold, just a circle of plain metal. Taiho stood beside her, dressed in human formal clothing. He looked uncomfortable in the fancy outfit, but his eyes never left his wife. I am not like my father, Nara announced to her people. I will not rule through fear. I will not conquer. I will not destroy. I will heal. I will build. I will bring peace. Cheers rose from unexpected places, not just from Valari, but from the representatives of 100 species who had come to witness this moment. Humans stood beside their former enemies. Old grudges began to fade. The galaxy was changing. In the years that followed, Empress Nara kept her promises. She freed all slaves. She opened borders. She established hospitals on every world. Staffed by healers, she trained herself. The gift that once nearly killed her became the foundation of a new civilization. Taiho served as her advisor and protector. He taught Valari commanders about human tactics. He taught human diplomats about Valari culture. He became the bridge he had always wanted Nara to be. They had 3 children. Each one carried both human and Valari blood. Each one had the gift of healing. They were the first of a new generation, proof that old enemies could create something beautiful together. On quiet evenings, Nara and Taiho would sit on the balcony of the palace, watching ships arrive from distant stars. They would remember the day they met. A victorious soldier and a discarded princess. 2 people who should have been enemies. Do you ever regret choosing me? Nara asked one night. Taiho laughed. It was still that same good sound, full of real warmth. Choosing you was the only smart thing I ever did. She leaned against him, watching the stars. The same stars she had watched from a shuttle window years ago, when she first learned what hope felt like. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing what I could become. I saw what you already were, he replied. I just helped you see it too. The galaxy had changed forever. And it all started because one human soldier chose the least esteemed princess as his prize. Some choices change everything.